Alright, in order to show how BibleWorks works, I've installed BibleWorks 8 now. I first have to go someplace else because there are certain quirks in BibleWorks 8 which are very annoying, and to save you time I want to show you how to get around them. First thing you need to do, and this is in XP, I don't know how it works in Vista or Windows 7, is you want to right click on your mouse while you're somewhere in your main window, just on the desktop. And you want to go down here to Properties, and you want to click on the Appearance, and you want to click on Advanced. Then you want to go down here to Selected Items, and you need to make the selected items in reverse from whatever your normal is. I'll explain why in a minute. So the color is going to have to be a dark color. I prefer to use something like teal or green that will show up nicely, and you click OK on that color. And then for your text, you're going to need something bright. White would probably be good. It's better than yellow, so that it will be the reverse. Now watch. Then you click Apply, and that makes it take place. So now watch. See, it turned colors. See, desktop now. It's really annoying for regular Windows use to have it reversed like that, because unfortunately the people at Windows don't care about the customer, and they make all the fonts too small. Even when you enlarge them, their little stupid dialog box takes up too much. See, it's taking up way too much screen space. Okay, but the characters are too small. Alright. But the reason you need to do that is when you do BibleWorks 8, which unlike BibleWorks 5 is a lot more complicated and annoying and takes time to load because it has more features, okay? When you're down here in the cross-reference, see, you got stats. I'll explain all these boxes in later videos. But the cross-reference, if you don't do what I just did with the selected items, that would not be readable, because somebody at BibleWorks decided to make the default, okay, be the reverse of what was intended in Windows. So this would be unreadable if you didn't go through what I did, because it automatically defaults to white font no matter what you selected. And then it puts your selected text, if this were a light color, over the white font, which renders it unreadable. Okay? See? So if you select a verse, you wouldn't be able to read it unless you did what I did first. That's your first thing that you need to do when you install BibleWorks, is before you even install it, you have to change your selected text. The next thing you want to be sure to do with BibleWorks is you got to pay really close attention to checkpoints. A checkpoint is an unintuitive way of telling you to preserve the prior version in case a later update crashes BibleWorks. And it will, because that's what happened to me. I had this installed on another machine, I did the update, and I didn't understand checkpoints, and so it crashed, the update crashed BibleWorks on my other machine. So, I'm going to have to go through these options, and they're very laborious, and they're not intuitive, and there's just no getting around it. Software these days is invented by people who they know what the words mean, but they don't bother to tell you. And that's one of the big problems in this software and any software. But once you get used to this, it's easier to use than all the other Bible software versions out there that give you, substance. Alright, so I'm going to explain what these are. Startup options. Show splash screen at startup. You do not want that. That's just like, hi, you're in BibleWorks. It's like splash screens, anything else. You see it the first time, you know what it is. You don't need to see it again. So you don't click that box. Enable Configuration Manager. That means if you want to change the configuration each time you load up. I promise me you will get sick of that. Just when you configure it the first time like we're doing now, then that will be what you want to use and stick to. You can always change it here. So you don't want it to pop up every time. So you don't want that box checked. Use separate directory for each configuration. No, that's dumb. These items are useful for BibleWorks that are installed in libraries. Okay? Where the people who are coming to use them are all sharing the same program. But that's not going to be you. Okay? So you don't want that. Hide Configuration Manager details, yeah, because you don't need it. Enable Dynamic Data Exchange. This is so that you can run BibleWorks with another program. To me, that's completely useless, but they tell you to leave it checked, so you leave it checked. Enable mouse hooks. That if you don't, mouse hooks doesn't tell you anything in English, but what it means is that your mouse won't work right in BibleWorks if you don't have it checked. So enable your mouse to work in BibleWorks is what this should say. But it doesn't. It says mouse hooks, which means nothing. Okay? Check for locked databases on startup. That too is unintuitive until you've used BibleWorks for a while. This means that if you have purchased extra modules, and I'm going to show you what those are, but you haven't unlocked them so you can use them, this is saying check for them on startup. Okay? And once you've installed the module, you're not going to want it to check. That'll just make it take longer. Allow Windows XP display themes on restart. If you have Windows XP, you should check that box. Okay? Enable scripture pop-ups and external files. This thing means in English that if you are reading one of your modules and it's got a reference to scripture, you'll be able to see the verse without having to leave the module. So you want that checked. Enable frameless main window buttons. That doesn't make any sense either. I have no clue what's a framed main window button versus a frameless, but the default is checked, so just leave it. Show getting started window on startup. You don't need that. Telling you how to get started. Once you've started it, you already know how to start it, so that's a stupid thing to check. Again, this would be good for a library, but it's not good for, if you're the main user, then leave it unchecked. Show main window toolbar. I have no idea what that is. No idea whatsoever. So it's left it checked. I have no idea what's the impact if I don't check it. Okay? Now we have shutdown options. Prompt user before exit. I have no idea why you'd want to be prompted. You're prompted anyway if you haven't saved the file. It automatically saves your settings. So, see, save setup options on exit. Again, if you're not the sole user of the software, you might not want this checked, but you're likely the sole user, because if you're not the sole user, you have to pay extra. Initialize any font file on exit. Never, ever, 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 ever check that box. Because what that does is that absolutely undoes every setting that you have already done. I learned this the hard way. I didn't know what initialize any file meant. A computer guy knows, but I'm not a computer guy. I'm the user buying the product. So this should say, hi, wipe out all of your settings when you exit. Then I would understand what it means. Never check that box if you value your sanity. Because it took me 2.5 hours, maybe 4. Let's see, it's 2 o'clock in the morning now. I think I started setting the options just after my latest video, the one with the pencil sketch. That's how long it took me to install. Okay, this is a very hard system to install. So you never want to initialize any file on exit. You never want that, ever, unless you're crazy. Save full network path. You never want that unless you're saving it on a network. Okay, and that only works in XP. Now here's what I was getting to when I said checkpoints. Save checkpoint on exit. Checkpoint is an unintuitive name for save your settings before your updates. In other words, you have the default setting when you first set it up on the machine. Then you're going to have an update. You want to save the file pre-update. And then you're going to have update number 2. Well, what if update number 2 crashes? Saving the checkpoint, so you always want this checked, will let you roll back to the prior update. So instead of saying checkpoint, they should have said it in decent English, like, hi, save each update file separately so you can roll back, or enable rollback if your system crashes. Checkpoint, what's that? Well, a computer guy knows what checkpoint is, but the user does not. It's kind of unfortunate that all these programmers use programmer language and expect us, who are not programmers, to know what they mean. And by the way, their instructions don't help much. But this is true for all software programming in Windows. They all suffer from the same disease, computeritis. And they expect the user to intuit what they mean. Okay? Okay, command line search options. The command line, that's another word that you don't know because you aren't a computerized. They give, this thing right here is the command line. Let me type something in it so you can see what I'm saying. That, where I typed all those D's, is the command line. This is what you're going to use for your searches. Okay? So these are the search options that apply to that section right here. Okay? Include nots in search window hits. In other words, if you're saying you want the word save but not saved, so you would say save not saved, like here is what you do. S-A-V-E space, then you put N-O-T, I'm not really sure how that works, S-A-V-E-D. So you're telling it that you want all the instances in the Bible where save is used, but not the word saved. Okay, this is saying, tell me how many hits had the word saved in it also, even though I don't want it. So they recommend that you don't check the box because you'll have too many hits and it'll drive you crazy. Okay, so it's not checked. Always compute hits for command line searches. Yes, you do always want that. They will show here at the bottom. See where the cursor is? They'll show here at the bottom how many times the verse hit occurs. That's really important for searching. Okay? It's like when people tell you that the Bible's name is Jehovah. Okay? Jehovah is used like maybe 50 times in the Bible. 5,000 times it's actually Yahweh. It's not even Yahweh. Yahweh is used like 50 times. Okay? So you need this in order to know that. So you always want that box checked. Compute search window hits by permutation. That means save, saved, similar words. You always want that checked. Add multiple hits to search window. That's in case the word save, for example, occurs more than once in the same verse. You want that. Okay? Then notify user if the OR search has unmatched elements. Again, that's computerese. You can search and, or, not. It's called a Boolean search. Okay, you're going to want an OR search if you say search save or saved. Okay? Or he saves, he saved, he saves, or he saved. Okay? What if it's got he saves but not he saved? You're going to want to maybe know that, so you always want that box checked. Extend Strong's tags to all words. Strong's doesn't have any value to me whatsoever. I never use it. You know, I don't know anybody who knows how to read Greek and Hebrew even bothers with it. Okay, it was invented by a guy in the 1800s for people who had printed Bibles and they wanted a mnemonic, and it was really meant for people who already knew how to read Greek and Hebrew. Okay, they just wanted something to jog their memory about what the word meant. Okay, and he signed, tags. People who talk about Strong's, when I hear somebody stress that they use Strong's, I know immediately they can't read Greek and Hebrew. I don't even want to listen to them. They think they know what it means. They don't know. Okay? Get off Strong's as soon as possible. Get into a real lexicon. Okay? Strong's himself was good at what he did. Okay, but he wrote it for other people in the 19th century who in high school learned Greek and Hebrew like he did. It was standard education for people in America and Europe to learn Greek and Hebrew in junior high school and high school. Okay, but people aren't like that now. So Strong's is not the way you should learn how to read Hebrew and Greek. So, if you're stuck on it, that's your problem. Get off it. Okay, anybody who talks about learning Strong's is just blowing hot air. He doesn't know how to read. Search on West European versions is accent sensitive. This is in case you're searching on a Bible version that is a Western European language. And I'm not, so I do that. Enable smart apostrophes. This is really important. What if you had brother apostrophe S and brothers plural? And if you don't click this box, it won't tell you the instances where you had brothers plural and brothers with an apostrophe S. You're going to need the apostrophe S because you don't know if there's a typo in the text. That's the first reason. The second reason is that when it says brothers plural and brothers with a possessive, the Bible might actually be relating those two verses, and you won't know if you don't check this box. So check the box. Include all verses with highlights. Okay, well, if you've highlighted a verse to find it, and you don't include it, then you won't find it. So obviously you check that box. Remember command line ranges. What that means in English is that if you have specified a search in a narrow, just a few books, and then you want to change the search, but then you want to go back to the search you did where it was narrow, you're going to lose it if you don't click this box. So click the box. It only remembers the last one you did anyway. Okay? Buffer word list to memory. That's going to save your last 5 searches, so you always want to check that. Okay. Now, if you're running on a slow machine, you're not going to want either one of these. Okay. This eats up memory. These two. So if you got enough memory, then check them. Okay. Then we go to command line configuration options. Okay. And I'll cover that in the next increment.